The desert wind carries the ghosts of a golden age of television. Half a century has vanished since we first rode into the Tucson sun with the men of the High Chaparral. Today we pull back the curtain on their incredible journeys. From silver screen stardom to quiet, unexpected legacies, see the faces of the legends as they look now. Grab your tissues. This nostalgic reunion is a roller coaster of raw emotion. Cameron Mitchell as Buck Cannon. Born on November 4th, 1918 in Dallastown, Pennsylvania, the son of a minister built a respectable career on Broadway and in film before finding his signature television role. At the age of 48, Mitchell's portrayal of the fiercely loyal and boisterous Buck Cannon on the High Chaparral debuted in 1967 and quickly became a cultural staple of the television Western. Offering a prime-time depiction of the hard-drinking, two-fisted yet undeniably big-hearted younger brother, he effectively stole the show. For 4 seasons, his charismatic energy and rugged charm defined a character that remains one of the era's most beloved cowboy figures. Despite the character's famous reputation as a happy-go-lucky, hard-drinking extrovert, Cameron Mitchell was actually a non-drinker who possessed a deeply serious theater background, standing in stark contrast to the rough-around-the-edges Buck. His journey in the entertainment industry was also marred by severe professional and financial hardships. After The High Chaparral ended its run in 1971, Mitchell struggled to maintain his footing in mainstream Hollywood and faced crippling financial woes, eventually filing for bankruptcy multiple times due to mounting debts, failed overseas film deals, and IRS issues. To survive, he fell victim to the struggle of being typecast as a rugged heavy and was forced to accept almost any job he could find, spending much of the 1970s and 1980s grinding through low-budget B-movies, slasher flicks, and European exploitation cinema just to pay his bills. Mitchell continued to work relentlessly across film and television in his later years to support his personal life, which included 3 marriages and 7 children. Though his mainstream star faded, his sheer volume of work earned him a unique cult status among fans of genre cinema, with some of his later films even being famously spoofed on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Mitchell passed away at his home in Pacific Palisades, California on July 6, 1994, at the age of 75 due to lung cancer. His death brought a quiet end to a staggering career of over 300 screen credits. Surrounded by his wife, children, and grandchildren in his final moments, he was subsequently laid to rest at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California, forever remembered by his fans as the larger-than-life Uncle Buck. Henry Darrow as Manolito Montoya. Born Enrique Tomas Delgado Jimenez. On September 15, 1933, in New York City, the actor spent his teenage years discovering his roots in Puerto Rico before moving to California to study his craft. At the age of 33, Darrow's portrayal of the roguish, charming, and fiercely loyal Manolito Montoya on the 1967 hit Western The High Chaparral became a massive cultural touchstone. Manolito was a groundbreaking departure from the stereotypical bandito roles typically offered to Hispanic actors at the time. Instead, he was the educated, complex son of a wealthy Mexican land baron. Darrow's infectious smile and magnetic screen presence made him a breakout household name, revolutionizing the prime-time depiction of Latinos and setting a new standard for authentic representation on television. Despite his character's carefree, extroverted, and lovable wastrel persona, Darrow was a deeply serious, classically trained stage actor who had to carefully navigate a heavily prejudiced Hollywood. To avoid being strictly pigeonholed into heavily stereotyped roles, he had earlier changed his name from Enrique Delgado to Henry Darrow, a calculated move to broaden his casting opportunities. Even with the name change and the massive success of The High Chaparral, Darrow still suffered from severe typecasting throughout his career, often finding it difficult to land leading parts outside of standard ethnic tropes. Professionally, the abrupt cancellation of the series in 1971 after 4 seasons came as a frustrating blow. Behind the scenes, Darrow also battled personal demons, including a lengthy struggle with alcoholism that severely impacted his private life and contributed to the end of his first marriage. Determined to improve the industry for those who followed him, Darrow co-founded the Screen Actors Guild Ethnic Minority Committee and helped launch the Nosotros organization to advocate for non-stereotypical roles for Latino actors. He continued to work prolifically in television, making history as the first Latino actor to portray Zorro on television and eventually participating in the franchise in 3 different iterations. He won a Daytime Emmy in 1990 for his role in the soap opera Santa Barbara, and found lasting personal stability with his second wife, Lauren Levian, whom he married in 1982. Darrow passed away from natural causes at his home in Wilmington, North Carolina on March 14, 2021, at the age of 87. His death was met with an outpouring of tributes from the entertainment community, celebrating him not just for his unforgettable talent, but for his enduring legacy as a trailblazer who fundamentally shifted the landscape for Hispanic actors. Linda Cristal as Victoria Cannon. Born Marta Victoria Moya, Pego Burgess, on February 23, 1931, in Rosario, Argentina. The glamorous actress first found success in Argentine and Mexican films before making her mark in Hollywood. At the age of 36, Cristal's portrayal of the powerful and aristocratic Victoria Cannon became a cultural touchstone, offering a groundbreaking prime-time depiction of a strong, three-dimensional Mexican woman that actively challenged the era's television stereotypes. For 4 seasons, her fierce elegance and undeniable grace defined a character that remains a significant milestone in television history, earning her a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in 1970 and 2 Emmy nominations. Despite the character's privileged aristocratic background, as the daughter of a wealthy Don, Linda Cristal's real life was forged in profound early hardship, standing in stark contrast to Victoria's sheltered upbringing. Orphaned at the age of 13 after a devastating car crash, claimed both her parents, Cristal, had to rely on fierce resilience to survive. She famously channeled this survivor's spirit during her audition for the show, completely abandoning the script to deliver a wild, improvised, and intensely emotional performance that won her the role on the spot. Her career, however, was marked by the struggle of being typecast as an exotic beauty in westerns, which made it difficult to find diverse leading roles after the show's run. The end of the High Chaparral also brought a professional sting, despite the show's massive international success and critical acclaim. The network abruptly canceled the expensive series in 1971 due to monetary constraints, prematurely ending a beloved and groundbreaking television journey. Linda Cristal continued to work sporadically in television for the next 2 decades, making guest appearances on popular shows like The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. She largely retired from acting in the late 1980s, with her final performances airing in 1988 as a crime boss's moll on the soap opera General Hospital. Away from the cameras, she proved to be a shrewd businesswoman, building a very successful second career in real estate and running an import/export company while enjoying a quiet life in California. Cristal passed away peacefully in her sleep at her home in Beverly Hills, California, on June 27, 2020, at the age of 89 from natural causes. Her passing was confirmed by her son and mourned by fans worldwide. She was survived by her 2 sons and grandchildren, leaving behind an enduring legacy as a trailblazer for Latina representation in Hollywood. Leif Erickson as Big John Cannon. Born on October 27, 1911 in Alameda, California, the actor, originally named William Wycliffe Anderson, had a long career in Hollywood before taking on his defining role in The High Chaparral, 1967. At the age of 55, Erickson's portrayal of the resolute and visionary cattle rancher became a cultural touchstone for the Western genre, offering a gritty primetime depiction of frontier survival that was both grounded and historically significant. For 4 seasons, his commanding presence and deep baritone defined a character that remains one of television's most iconic and deeply respected patriarchs. Despite the character's stern, stoic, and highly imposing nature, Leif Erickson was openly enthusiastic, relaxed, and described by those who knew him as an outgoing man with a deep passion for music, making his real personality a sharp contrast to Big John Cannon. This difference highlighted his immense talent, as he initially began his career as a big band singer and trombone player rather than a rugged cowboy. His professional journey was also marked by the hurdle of being trapped in the industry's limbo of near stars, where he frequently struggled to land leading parts and was relegated to supporting roles despite his commanding presence. The end of his signature show brought its own professional sting. As the popularity of television westerns faded in the early 1970s, the series suffered from severe budget cuts before being abruptly canceled by NBC, a disheartening conclusion to a groundbreaking production. Leif Erickson continued to work in television and film well into his later years, maintaining a private personal life, alongside his proud legacy as a decorated World War II Navy combat photographer who had earned 2 Purple Hearts. He took on various guest-starring roles in popular series throughout the 1970s and 80s, including The Rockford Files and Fantasy Island, while also appearing in films such as Twilight's Last Gleaming. Erickson passed away at a hospital in Pensacola, Florida, on January 29, 1986, at the age of 74 following a difficult battle with cancer. His death marked the loss of a true television legend, and his remains were subsequently cremated, and his ashes scattered peacefully, laying to rest a man whose formidable on-screen legacy continues to endure. Mark Slade as Billy Blue Cannon. Born on May 1, 1939, the Salem, Massachusetts native first brought Billy Blue Cannon to life on the NBC Western The High Chaparral in 1967. At the age of 28, Slade's portrayal of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and emotionally complex son of the ranch patriarch became a cultural touchstone, offering a prime-time depiction of youthful angst and frontier coming-of-age that was both highly relatable and significant. For 3 seasons, his earnest vulnerability and unforgettable on-screen presence defined a character that remains one of television's most iconic Western figures. Despite the character's rugged, saddle-bound, and impulsive nature, Mark Slade was an intensely private intellectual, a quiet artist at heart, and terrified of horses in real life due to a childhood riding accident, the polar opposite of Billy Blue. This contrast was a significant part of his personal journey. He found playing the physically demanding, fearless cowboy to be a relentless challenge, even having to secretly learn to ride after lying about his abilities during his audition. His career was also marked by the struggle of being typecast as a naive, spirited youth, which for a period made it difficult for him to find more diverse acting work after his breakout success. The end of his run on the High Chaparral itself brought a professional sting. Physically broken down by the stunts and creatively stifled by the repetitive scripts, Slade quietly asked to leave the show before its 4th season, walking away from a grueling environment to protect his physical and mental well-being. Mark Slade continued to work in television and film for a time, taking on the starring role of Taylor Reed in the 1970s series Salty and making guest appearances on shows like The Rookies and Cagney and Lacey. However, he ultimately chose to step back from acting to pursue a highly successful, albeit private, career as a writer-director and fine artist. Throughout the ensuing decades, he authored several novels, including Going Down Maine and Don't Call Me Sly, and created internationally published comic strips and illustrations. Married to his wife Melinda since 1968, with whom he shares 2 sons, he has maintained a grounded life far removed from the entertainment industry. At 86, he is enjoying a quiet retirement in Northern California, where he continues to dedicate his time to his family and his lifelong passion for the visual arts and literature. Don Collier as Sam Butler. Born on October 17, 1928 in Santa Monica, California, the former athlete and seasoned actor stepped into his most famous television role on The High Chaparral in 1967. At the age of 38, Collier's portrayal of the fiercely loyal and highly capable ranch foreman Sam Butler became a defining element of the gritty Western. His performance offered a prime-time depiction of the rugged, dependable spirit of the American frontier that was both authoritative and authentic. For 4 seasons, his booming voice and commanding presence crafted a character that remains a beloved and iconic figure among classic television westerns. Despite his character's hardened, serious, and often stoic demeanor, Don Collier was known in real life for his incredibly easygoing nature and a complete lack of a big Hollywood ego. This contrast was notable to everyone who met him. He was humorous, gentle, and profoundly approachable, a stark departure from the iron-willed foreman he played. Professionally, his career was marked by the struggle of being heavily typecast. His towering stature and gravelly voice made it difficult for him to secure roles outside of the Western genre, permanently pigeonholing him as a cowboy or lawman. The end of the High Chaparral also brought a significant professional challenge, as its sudden cancellation left him scrambling for work in an era when traditional Western shows were rapidly vanishing from network television. Don Collier continued to embrace his cowboy persona in television and film for decades, bringing his familiar presence to shows like The Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, and the 80s Western series The Young Riders. In his personal life, he relocated to Tucson, Arizona, and later Kentucky, staying deeply connected to his roots by serving as the popular commercial pitchman for Arbuckle's Coffee and making regular appearances at Western heritage festivals. Collier passed away in Harrodsburg, Kentucky on September 13, 2021, at the age of 92 after a battle with lung cancer. His death was followed by a heartfelt outpouring of grief from the classic television community as fans and colleagues mourned the loss of one of the last true cowboys of the silver screen. Roberto Contreras as Pedro. Born on December 12, 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, the actor first brought Pedro to life on the NBC Western series The High Chaparral in 1967. At the age of 38, Contreras' portrayal of the loyal, dependable, and humorous vaquero became a vital part of the show's success, offering a prime-time depiction of a multifaceted Hispanic character that was both authentic and significant. For 4 seasons, his grounded performance as a skilled bunkhouse hand helped define a character that challenged the era's reductive stereotypes and remained a beloved fixture of 1960s television. Despite the character's light-hearted, happy-go-lucky, and often subservient demeanor, Roberto Contreras was an intensely thoughtful man who came from a proud lineage of Mexican filmmakers and was deeply concerned with authentic representation. This contrast was a significant part of his personal journey. He often expressed frustration over the industry's habit of casting non-Latino actors in Mexican roles. His career was also marked by the pervasive struggle of being typecast, which made it difficult for him to find expansive work beyond playing peasants, bandits, or laborers. The cancellation of the High Chaparral in 1971 brought a professional sting, as the rapidly declining interest in the Western genre forced him to scramble for small guest spots in a Hollywood landscape that offered severely limited opportunities for Mexican-American actors. Roberto Contreras continued to work in television and film for decades, securing memorable supporting roles in major movies like Alfred Hitchcock's Topaz 1969 and Brian De Palma's Scarface 1983, before concluding his career with the 1993 Chicano crime epic Bound by Honor. Contreras passed away in Burbank, California on July 18, 2000 at the age of 71 from a short illness. After his passing, he was cremated, and his ashes were entrusted to his family in a quiet, private arrangement. His death was a profound loss to his loved ones, including his son, fellow character actor Luis Contreras, who tragically passed away just 4 years later, leaving behind a shared family legacy of trailblazing Latino representation in Hollywood. Frank Silvera as Don Sebastian Montoya. Born on July 24, 1914 in Kingston, Jamaica, the exceptionally versatile actor first brought his commanding presence to television screens on the NBC Western series The High Chaparral in 1967. At the age of 53, Silvera's portrayal of Don Sebastian Montoya, the wealthy, wily, and widely feared Mexican rancher of Sonora, became a standout element of the show. His performance provided audiences with a powerful and authoritative depiction of a Latino patriarch moving beyond the subservient stereotypes of the era. The character's complex, often tense alliance with the Cannon family anchored the show's dramatic tension and left a lasting cultural impact on primetime television. Despite the character's ruthless, arrogant, and imposing nature, Frank Silvera was deeply compassionate, introspective, and intensely devoted to social justice. The contrast between his real life and his on-screen persona was rooted in his own hidden identity. Though he famously played a Mexican landowner, Silvera was actually a light-skinned black man of Jamaican, African, and Portuguese Jewish descent. Professionally, he struggled with a unique and isolating form of typecasting known as the Man of a Thousand Faces. He was hired to play almost every ethnicity from white and Latino to Polynesian and Asian characters, while being denied the opportunity to play black men in a deeply segregated Hollywood. Frustrated by the systemic racism and lack of dignified roles for African Americans, Silvera openly protested the industry, placing full-page advertisements in Hollywood trade papers to challenge his peers and condemn discriminatory casting practices. Determined to create opportunities for his community, Silvera founded the Theater of Being in Los Angeles in the mid-1960s, utilizing his own finances to train young black actors and produce groundbreaking works like James Baldwin's The Amen Corner. Tragically, his life and career were cut short during his time on the High Chaparral. Frank Silvera passed away in Pasadena, California on June 11, 1970, at the age of 55, following a freak accident in which he was fatally electrocuted while trying to repair a garbage disposal unit in his kitchen sink. Rudy Ramos as Wind. Born on September 19, 1950, in Lawton, Oklahoma, the actor of Mexican and Native American descent first broke into the entertainment industry after a chance encounter while working at a shoe store in Los Angeles. At the age of 19, Ramos's portrayal of Wind, the enigmatic and volatile half-Pawnee, half-white teenage warrior, became a significant television milestone. Joining the High Chaparral in its fourth season, his performance provided one of the first positive and nuanced portrayals of a mixed-heritage indigenous character on network television. The character deeply resonated with audiences worldwide, moving away from the era's dominant depictions of Native Americans as simple antagonists or savages, and instead offering a compelling look at a restless loner fiercely searching for a place to belong. Despite the character's headstrong, defiant, and mystical on-screen persona, Rudy Ramos was a relaxed, humble, and deeply grounded individual who greatly admired the veteran cast members that warmly mentored him. This contrast was only part of his Hollywood journey, as his early career was heavily marked by the struggles of being an indigenous and Latino actor during a less progressive era. Ramos faced significant typecasting, often being initially relegated to stereotypical villain or sidekick roles, and frequently had to endure derogatory on-set nicknames like Chief, due to the industry's limited understanding of minority performers. Additionally, his big break came with an immediate professional sting. The High Chaparral was abruptly canceled just after his first season, forcing him back into the audition grind while simultaneously navigating the unfair fan misconception that he had been brought onto the show merely to replace departing star Mark Slade. Rudy Ramos continued to work in television and film for decades, building an extensive resume with appearances in movies like Helter Skelter and Colors, as well as recurring roles on shows like Hunter. He later found a profound personal calling on the stage, touring the country for years in the acclaimed one-man play Geronimo, Life on the Reservation, paying tribute to the real-life Apache leader who spent his final years near Ramos's Oklahoma hometown. He also successfully introduced himself to an entirely new generation of viewers, earning widespread acclaim for his recurring role as reservation elder Felix Long on the massive hit series Yellowstone from 2018 to 2024. At 75, he is married to his wife Kathy and enjoys a private, quiet life in Southern California, respected as a trailblazer who spent over half a century improving indigenous and Hispanic representation in Hollywood. Ted Markland as Reno. Born on January 15, 1933 in Syracuse, New York, the talented actor first brought the rugged and loyal ranch hand Reno to life on the NBC Western television series The High Chaparral in 1967. At the age of 34, Markland's portrayal of the tough desert-smart cowboy became a memorable part of the classic Western genre, offering viewers a dependable and fiercely protective bunkhouse hand who was always willing to lay down his life for his friends. For 2 seasons, his quiet strength and authentic Western presence defined a character that resonated strongly with audiences and remains a cherished figure in television history. Despite the character's tough, soft-spoken, and stoic cowboy persona, Ted Markland was a highly energetic and outgoing performer who actually began his entertainment career as a rapid-fire stand-up comedian, mentored by the legendary Lenny Bruce. This striking contrast between his lively comedic real-life personality and his serious screen presence was a testament to his acting abilities. However, his career was also marked by the struggle of being typecast, which made it consistently difficult for him to find work outside the realm of rugged cowboys, outlaws, or villains in westerns and action films. His time on the High Chaparral also brought professional hardship when he departed the series after just 2 seasons, forcing him to navigate the unpredictable landscape of bit parts and guest-starring roles to keep his career afloat. Ted Markland continued to work in television and film for decades, securing notable supporting parts in critically acclaimed movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, and action films such as Another 48 Hours, 1990, while remaining deeply connected to his fans. He eventually retired to Yucca Valley, California, where he lived a quieter life with his longtime companion Carol Vogel and his son Aaron. Markland passed away at his home in Yucca Valley on December 18, 2011, at the age of 78, from natural causes following a period of declining health. His death was followed by a heartfelt outpouring of grief from his dedicated fan base, who honored his enduring legacy by sharing tributes and messages of appreciation at that year's High Chaparral reunion. Jerry Summers as Ira Bean. Born on February 3, 1931, the Bronx native first brought Ira Bean to life on the classic television western The High Chaparral when the series premiered in 1967. At the age of 36, Summers's portrayal of the rugged, fiercely loyal, and capable ranch hand became a deeply memorable part of the hit show's ensemble. Playing one of the beloved bunkhouse boys, he perfectly embodied the tough, resilient American cowboy. Although Ira rarely spoke, and his background was never fully explained on the show, his raw courage, unyielding dedication to the Cannon Ranch, and steadfast reliability made him a fan favorite and a quintessential figure of the era's primetime Western landscape. Despite playing a hot-blooded, enigmatic ranch hand whose life was solely devoted to the frontier, Jerry Summers was a highly trained performer and an incredibly ambitious professional off-screen. He had spent years studying acting under Richard Boone and at New York's Neighborhood Playhouse, hoping to establish himself as a serious, dramatic lead. However, he faced the immense professional struggle of being overshadowed by his own athletic talents. Producers primarily viewed him as a stuntman, rather than an actor, making it incredibly difficult for him to secure substantial acting roles to support his young family. Due to these ongoing challenges and the need for financial stability, he made the difficult choice to leave the High Chaparral after just its first season, retreating to his established and lucrative career in stunt work before his body could no longer handle the extreme physical toll. Jerry Summers went on to become one of the most famous and prolific stuntmen in Hollywood, performing, directing, and acting in over 400 film and television productions, including legendary sets like Star Trek, Gunsmoke, and Spartacus. He enjoyed a fulfilling personal life, sharing his later years with his wife of 27 years, Frankie, as well as his children and grandchildren. Summers passed away at his home in Arroyo Grande, California on January 1, 2006, at the age of 74 from undisclosed causes. Bob Hoye as Joe Butler. Born on April 3, 1927 in New York City. New York, the former U.S. Marine and seasoned stuntman stepped into the spotlight on the classic television western The High Chaparral. At the age of 40, Hoy's portrayal of the rugged, dependable ranch hand Joe Butler brought a vital authenticity to the bunkhouse crew. His natural horsemanship and cowboy skills helped elevate the series, making it a beloved hit that offered viewers a grittier, more realistic depiction of frontier life. For 4 seasons, his steady presence and undeniable screen charisma turned what could have been a background character into a fan favorite and an essential part of the show's enduring cultural legacy. Despite playing the quiet, unassuming, and easygoing ranch hand, Joe Butler, Bob Hoye, was highly driven, extroverted, and an authoritative leader in real life. Friends and colleagues described him as a straight-talking, no-nonsense professional who possessed the disciplined bearing of a Marine, a sharp contrast to the laid-back cowboy he portrayed. His professional journey was fraught with the unique hardships of transitioning from an anonymous stunt performer to a credited dramatic actor. He constantly fought against the industry's tendency to typecast him solely as a physical fall guy, which made it difficult for him to secure substantial speaking roles. The abrupt cancellation of the High Chaparral in 1971 brought a difficult professional transition, instantly stripping away a steady mainstream acting gig and forcing him back into the grueling hustle of finding consistent work in a shifting television landscape. Bob Hoye continued to work tirelessly in Hollywood for decades, balancing a prolific acting career with highly respected work behind the camera as a stunt coordinator and second unit director on shows like Zorro. In his personal life, he enjoyed a deeply devoted marriage to his wife, Kiva, with whom he spent his later years. Hoye passed away at Northridge Hospital Medical Center in California on February 8, 2010, at the age of 82, following a courageous 6-month battle with lung cancer. His death was deeply mourned by the Western community, but his legacy was cemented by a poignant and triumphant aftermath. Just days before his passing, he was awarded the prestigious Golden Boot Award by the Motion Picture and Television Fund for his lifetime contributions to the Western genre. Marie Gomez as Perlita Flores, born in 1942 in France, the French-Spanish actress first brought her captivating presence to television and film before landing her most famous recurring role. At the age of 25, Gomez's portrayal of the fiery and flirtatious Perlita Flores on the High Chaparral became a cultural touchstone of the classic Western era, offering a prime-time depiction of a boldly independent, unapologetic Latina woman that was both hilarious and memorable. For the show's early seasons, her comedic timing and unforgettable bombastic entrances defined a character that remains one of the series' most iconic figures. Despite the character's bombastic and extroverted nature, Marie Gomez was profoundly grounded and described by those who knew her later path as the polar opposite of the famously mercenary Perlita. This contrast was a significant part of her personal journey. She found playing the deliberately provocative and loose-moraled character to be a stark departure from her own deeply held faith and values. Her career was also marked by the struggle of being typecast as the stereotypical cantina girl or outlaw's fiery girlfriend, which made it difficult for her to find diverse, meaningful work after her initial burst of fame. The end of her brief Hollywood heyday brought a professional sting. Despite earning a Golden Globe nomination in 1966 for The Professionals, she faced a disheartening lack of varied opportunities, leading her to walk away from the industry entirely after 1970's Barquero. Marie Gomez continued to dedicate her life to her faith and philanthropy for decades, remaining a very private individual away from the cameras. She vanished from the public eye to undertake extensive charity work, specifically caring for orphans in Mexico and working closely with the Christian ministry, the Lord's Lighthouse. Throughout the 2000s, she briefly resurfaced to the delight of fans, appearing in a 2005 interview for the DVD release of The Professionals and attending the 40th anniversary cast reunion for The High Chaparral in Studio City in 2007. At 83, she is living a quiet, faithful life, far removed from the entertainment industry, having traded the fleeting fame of acting for a lasting legacy of service and compassion. From the dusty trails of 1967 to the present day, the journey of the High Chaparral cast serves as a poignant reminder of our own passage through time. We celebrate their talent and the indelible mark they left on the Western genre. Their stories continue to inspire new generations of fans today. Which transformation surprised you the most? Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into television history.